Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hi, Larson.
Welcome to another Going In Raw news brief. Larson, has been a lot going on in the world of wrestling, even since the year began 48 hours ago, with The Rock coming back to like the Monday Night Raw to take on apparently Roman Reigns. But that doesn't mean the world of wrestling news comes to an end. We didn't put this in the podcast because why do that when we can do another video called the news brief?
Correct.
What's
a lot
in the
of news?
news?
There's a lot of news that happened. We are on vacation. Like as soon as we're like, all right, we're done.
Oh,
like
dude.
Cody may have re-signed or not. There's all sorts of stuff that happened.
It's the wrestling gods at work again, Larson. Always trying to stick it to the old Steven Larson.
Keep us from taking any sort of time off. But anyways, it's more recent stuff here. Anyway, So as reported by Fightful Select shortly after World's End, we talked about this in our World's End recap.
Yeah.
The expectation is that MJF is going to take some time away to heal up from his injuries that he's been dealing with over the last few weeks. Dave Meltzer reported on the most recent Wrestling Observer Radio that MJF's shoulder injury might be severe enough to require surgery. So these transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. Is what Dave had to say. Dave of those other guys. Quote, he is hurt. You know, his shoulder is legitimately hurt. He could come out on Wednesday's Dynamite, do a promo, although I don't think he will. Well, from what I was told, he is either going to have to rehab the shoulder, which is the main problem, or he may need surgery. And just judging from how severe it was, he may need that surgery, and the surgery would put him out for quite a while. He's still debating which tack to take. I think it's probably the best thing for him to have the surgery, but it's a long time off. Other guys do that. I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world. It takes a long time off, but it seems like a lot. You know, I mean, for his career, he's 27 years old. He needs to get the shoulder fixed. And as good as it could be fixed, because you don't want that thing to be a mess for the rest of your career. There we go.
Yeah, you did well. I think the last part
and
was
as good as it can be fixed, because you don't want that thing to be a mess for the rest of
as good as it can be fixed. WNBC.
WNBC.
I'm giving you line readings here, man. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm just trying to interpret Dave here. So yeah, I mean, like he had that thing like super wrapped up. He had the brace on it, tape on it. Torn labrum, I think, was the diagnosis.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, I mean, I'm not an orthopedist. I'm not a physical therapist.
Right.
I don't know how, I'm guessing like a lot of other injuries, there's grades to it.
Mm-hmm, sure.
There's a minor tear, there's a major tear, and probably steps in between. If it's a situation where maybe like the there's this nebulous area where it's like, well, you could rehab it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Not a guarantee that it's gonna you know heal the issue sufficiently, but it's a shorter time out than surgery.
Yeah, seems like that's.
And I think that would be the toughest area. If it's a situation where labrum was basically torn in half, well, you got to have surgery. All right,
easy decision to make.
Yeah, it's an easy decision. Or if it's a slight tear, rehab for a few weeks, you're good to go.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But if it's that nebulous area in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where you could go the rehab route and you could be fine, or you could go the rehab route and you could have just wasted like 4 or 8 weeks, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so, I wonder if some of that, the decision-making process, might hinge on what his plans are going forward, given that this sort of coincides with, you know, what he has been claimed by MJF as, you know, sort of contract time, where it's claimed that he hasn't re-signed with AEW, and Tony Khan dodged the question pretty bluntly by saying he's not going to comment on MJF's contract status during the media scrum. So maybe the storyline plans factor into it. Meltzer also stated that Joe winning the AEW title was the plan regardless of MJF's injury status, saying, quote, even before Max got hurt, Joe was always going to win the title on the show. In that sense, the title did not change hands because he's hurt. It was always the plan. And it could be the story, end quote. It could be the storyline related or indication of whether or not MJF has signed a new deal with AEW. But he's no longer listed on AEW's roster page. So there could be a number of reasons, but one of them could be he dropped the title. He's injured, and he's without a contract. If he hadn't been injured, I suspect I mean, the door would be, let's say he wasn't injured, then like, why wouldn't he immediately come back unless he didn't have a contract and they were going to write him out?
Exactly. If he
like,
wasn't
why do
hurt,
this whole devil thing?
Yeah. Let's say if he wasn't hurt and the plan was always for Joe to win the title, that would lead one to believe, or they'd want to have people to believe, that he is without a new contract and could potentially leave.
Yeah. So I don't know if he wasn't hurt, why do the whole devil thing in the first place if you know it's a thing that you can't pay off, unless you're just thinking, well, there's a good possibility
the reveal,
the
devil reveal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the whole devil story, to be honest with you, it didn't start that long ago, and
no, it didn't.
And it seems to hinge on MJF. Period. MJ, like the whole point of of Adam Cole being the devil is to get MJF, and now obviously he can do other things.
Yeah,
but like it's not quite as effective as if MJF can't come back and do stuff, unless the idea was, well, there's a likely possibility that he's going to re-sign with AEW, so we're gonna go ahead and do this, and hopefully we'll re-sign him.
It's interesting, yeah, to go forward with this storyline with no guarantee that it'll pay off with Adam Cole and MJF ever having a match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Until I see otherwise, Larson, I'm going to stick by my personal belief that he's kayfabing us when he says he hasn't re-signed. I think he has. Let me ask you this. If he actually hadn't resigned, would Tony Khan's answer at the scrum, where he basically dodges the question openly, says, I can't comment on his contract status.
Contrast his answer when asked about Andrade's contract status, which he said, yeah, his contract's up at the end of the year at that same media scrum.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It feels like story. It feels like he's resigned.
The thing is, I think it was pretty clear that Andrade was gone, and that's why Tony Khan probably felt comfortable saying, yes, his contract's up. I think he even said we don't expect him to re-sign. If it's a situation where MJF's contract is up, but they're in talks, there's negotiations ongoing, and even if there's no contract actually signed, that could be reason enough for Tony Khan to say, I don't want to speak about it.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. He knows Andrade's gone. With MJF, it's an ongoing situation.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with Steve here's belief that he re-signed a long time ago, and that's why they're sort of going all in on MJF at this point. It's a shame that Steve
believes.
That is what Steve believes. It's a shame that he's injured, though. But at the same time, as Meltzer basically says here, sometimes the absence makes the heart grow. Like it wants it more.
Fonder. That's the word you're looking for. Fonder.
Exactly. I was trying to do the old George W. thing, saying, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't fool me again."
Can't fool me again.
Oh, man. Speaking of being fooled, we were fooled into thinking that Sasha Banks might be back in WWE, but I don't know, maybe not. While we were on vacation, Fightful Select reported that while WWE and Mercedes Moné had talks about a potential return, those negotiations, quote, fell apart. And a source indicated that Moné and WWE were no longer discussing a return. Yesterday, Fightful added that Moné and AEW were in discussions and that, quote, those in the industry we've spoken to say that All Elite Wrestling is the likely landing point. I believe, didn't Brian Alvarez say something like, I'd be surprised if she wasn't there on Wednesday?
He basically said, I'm not reporting this, but yeah, he says he wouldn't be surprised if Mercedes was there as soon as this Wednesday or something to that effect.
Yeah, yes. Right. So, man, I hope we have a new most complex contract in all of pro wrestling, because given the state of the amount of time that Tony Khan devotes to the women's division, I would hope that Mercedes Moné, look, man, everybody thinks they could change people. Maybe she thinks she can go in there and change the culture for the better there in AEW, but hopefully she got some guarantees in the contract of match time and number of appearances and so forth and
segments
so forth.
And so on and so forth. And hopefully got written in there too that her matches and segments don't come at the expense of other women in the women's division. It's not like her segments replace their segments. It's in addition to.
And she gets a bus.
And she gets a bus and a lot of money.
Yeah, and a ton of money. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. I still think that by December of this year, she's going to be back in the WWE.
It wouldn't surprise me at some point this year she returns to WWE. You know, that's because there's discussions between AEW and Mercedes. Doesn't mean it's like a long-term deal. You know, it could be a situation where she's like, I want to have these matches with these competitors, and that's what I'm in AEW to do, is just have those matches, you know? And once those matches are done, I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah, right. I hope this is going to be like an appearance thing and she's not locking herself in for 3 years to that place.
Yeah.
That place. I was so rude. Look, I'm just saying. Look at Saraya. When Saraya came in, she felt like a big deal. She got on the mic and said, those other guys never listened to me, and I'm going to change things around here. And that didn't really happen.
Nothing changed.
She actually just sort of comes off as like a normal person now, like not a big superstar.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if part of that though is because I know she said she's only going to work like a limited number of matches to start and stuff like that. I wonder if that has anything to do with that.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. But who knows? You know what? Hey, I'm New Year, positive Steve. I think that it's going to go great for Mercedes Moné. No matter what happens in AEW, she's going to change the culture there, and they're going to do wildly awesome things. New Year, new Steve.
All right, we can be optimistic. It's 2 days into the year.
Yeah. We'll see how long that lasts.
Speaking of optimism, seemingly like there's those in WWE that are optimistic that Trinity could be making a return. So we just spoke about Mercedes Moné. Does appear she's nearing a return to WWE. Fellow Team Bad member.
There you go.
Naomi Trinity.
Yeah.
Seems like she's on the precipice potentially of coming back to WWE. Fightful Select reported today. Trinity is set to be a free agent soon. And sources from both WWE and Impact, now TNA, informed Fightful that they expect her to return to WWE, with one source adding, quote, something huge would have to happen for her to not end up back at WWE sooner than later. But this is a crazy free agent period.
Yeah, man. Well, of course, coming up on January the 13th of this year, we're going to be doing our 12-hour stream, I think. We're going to double check it with the bosses here, with Bill going it with Bill Friendo. Make sure he's cool on the schedule for that.
Fred Friendo.
Yeah, Fred Friendo. That's good. Frederick Friendo. To make sure that our schedule is cleared for January 13th.
Yes.
Do our big 12-hour stream. Part of that's going to be the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. She's going to be taking on Jordan Grace, putting up her TNA Knockouts Championship. Yes. So I guess all the confidence points there on Jordan Grace.
Well, I guess it depends on when Trinity. I guess it was last April that she made her debut in Impact. So I guess it's possible, if it's a 1-year deal, that contract could go till April of this year. So I don't know if it's necessarily a situation.
Okay.
After Hard to Kill.
Impact's one of those weird things too, because it's like you think, oh man, for sure she's out of here, right? And then like she just never drops the title.
Or you're like, oh, I'm sure she signed a 1-year deal. Come to find out, it's like an 8.5-month deal.
An 8.5, the old Leo Rush special where you signed for 261 days. Oh man, so yeah, now that'd be great to see her back in the WWE. Be interested to see if Triple H. Because she's married to Jimmy, right? Yeah. Be interesting to see if he makes a bloodline connection. I always thought it'd be super cool to have a female bloodline representative in Trinity, and her checking Jimmy for his cartoonish behavior could be a lot of fun.
That'd be a lot of fun
as well. But the idea of a female competitor being in there, part of the bloodline, and seeing how the rest of the division then has to worry about that shit. Mm-hmm. That could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of fun.
It could be. That could be pretty neat.
So anyways, hey, let us know what you guys think about all these pro wrestling news developments as the old internet wrestling Twitter continues to burn down due to the Rock Cody situation there in the WWE. Be sure to check out our Raw Day 1 review, available right now at the channel, and we talk extensively about all that Rock Cody
for
Roman.
a half hour.
For like a and it flew by too. My goodness, there was so much there to unpack. I'm about to do another video about it on Wrestle Juice over here in a second.
Oh wow! Additional thoughts.
We'll do some more mental gymnastics. I'm going to try to lay out the options is what I'm going to do over at Wrestle Juice. Because like we do that in a really great long conversation there. But, Wrestle Juice, I distill things to its purest essence, Larson. It's just more mental gymnastics, to be honest with you. It's just trying to
It's got to be Rock Roman at WrestleMania. That's what it's got to be.
Yeah, what happens with Cody then? I don't know. We're going to find out.
Tag match? I don't know. Him and the Creeds against Judgment Day.
Get out of here with that. We got to get out of here before I throw up. Talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.